All right, everybody. Hello, friends. Welcome in. This is a yoga style, yoga inspired breathing class. We borrow from some breathing practices like Qi Gong and other Eastern breathing patterns, but with yoga in mind. I've got a chair here in case you're planning on doing this seated in a chair. You can technically do these standing as well, but I wanted this to be really accessible for the floor folks and the chair folks. So that's how I'm going to do this practice today. I'll bounce between the two, and you don't have to go to both every time I bounce up to the chair and down to the floor. You can just stick with whatever is comfortable for you. So let's get started here. Breathing for the mind, really getting a lot of expansion in the thoracic area for better lung capacity, but also for calming the mind, alerting the mind. It's kind of whatever you're looking to do. We'll get some practices in each direction today. So here we go. Find a posture of comfort for yourself. So that might be leaning over your legs if you're on the ground. It might be propped against a wall, right? It might just be relaxed, kind of with your back against the wall, head down, possibly. The idea here is it's not a prescribed posture. It's whatever your body says, yeah, that's a pretty comfortable spot. So maybe leaning back in a recliner or something like that, but this is a posture of comfort to start with. Okay? And we'll get up to a nice straight spine posture in a minute, but we'll start here and just start wiggling the toes. I'm doing this in my socks today. Usually I do my practices in my shoes, but I'm home today and I trust my floors, so I'm gonna do this in my socks. Wiggling my toes. Start to go up and down at the ankles here, activating the shins and calf muscles. Breathing subtly. Right, nothing too intentional with our breathing yet. We'll get there. Okay, then I'm going to extend either knee, kicking straight, whether you're in a chair or on the floor. Okay, maybe march the knees a little bit, and then I'm going to sit up fairly straight and start to roll the shoulders. Now, if you're on the floor, same thing. You might get a little bit of pressure in your sit bones, so you can put your hands on the ground to just kind of find a more comfortable posture, and then roll the shoulders. Trying to get all the joints awake and alive. Good flow through the body. All right, let's pair some movement and breathing here. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose if you can, while you bring the shoulders up. So breathe in as we go up, and out as we float back down with the shoulders. In as we roll up. Exhale as we roll the shoulders down. Last one. And in reverse directions. I'm rolling my shoulders forward now. And you don't have to keep the breathing paired with your movement at this point. You can just kind of breathe naturally for yourself. All right, wiggle the hips if you ever need to, if there's pressure in your sit bones. All right, I'm going to pick my hands up and roll the wrists. Bend and extend the elbows. And then let's turn the head. Rotating the neck gently. We're not trying to crack the neck, right? We're not our own chiropractors here. But you might get some popping and creaking. Especially if this is one of the first things you've done in the day. All right, and then eyes forward. So I'm going to put my hands on the ground. If you're on the floor, if you're in a chair, you might put your hands behind you, either holding onto the rungs or the seat of your chair. And the idea here is we're walking the hips. Okay, so I usually describe this as, imagine you're on a beach in the sand, right? And we're kind of burrowing our sit bones into the sand more and more. So left and right, front and back, kind of wiggling the hips like I'm digging myself into the sand, bottom first. Okay, Okay, really getting the pelvis moving around there, the low spine. Okay. Here's what it looks like in a chair. So you might scoot forward and then just kind of wiggle the hips here. All right. Next up, I've got my phone here for to keep track of the time. So if I look at that, it's me looking at how much time we have left. Next up, expansion and contraction. So we're going to extend, right, and then bend the spine, pairing that with movement. So I'm going to put my hands on my knees if you're in a chair, and just breathe in as the ribs go forward, the sternum pushes forward, shoulder blades pull back to extend the spine. And then when we exhale, we round the back. Now, in many of my classes, I talk about not rounding the back. There are definitely times in the day where just going about your day, you don't want to be rounding your back all day. But during a controlled exercise like this, it's pretty safe to do so. So I'm going to round my back during the breathing practice. Helps with some spinal mobility there. Okay, so we exhale as we round the spine. Inhale as we extend the spine. Okay. If you're on the floor, same thing, but you've got a few options here. You can have your knees up just like I was sitting before. Extend and bend, or you could sit with your feet together and knees out, kind of like the butterfly stretch or whatever, and hold on to the feet or the ankles. And the idea here, right, your arms aren't critical here. This is not about the arms. This is about the spine, rib cage, right, thoracic region. Okay, so exhale as we round. Inhale as we extend the spine, nose tips up. Exhale as we round. Inhale as we extend the spine, nose tips up. Exhale as we round. Keep going there. Another option for sitting is crossing the legs. Okay. I don't love this on my knees. It just kind of bothers it. It feels like there's some kind of twisting pressure, but sometimes it's okay for me. So this is an option. Easy sit posture. If it's not an easy sitting posture, then change it up, right? Go for this. Maybe even just have your legs straight. For me, that's a lot of tension on my hamstrings, but this would work as well. Rounding and extending the spine. Okay, so you just kind of find whatever is a comfortable posture for you. Breathing in as we extend, pushing the ribs and the sternum forward. Exhale and round. In as we extend. Exhale and round. In as we extend. Exhale and round. In as we extend. And I'm going to slow it down here so I can get some fuller, deeper breaths for a second. So in, nice deep breath. And out, rounding, rounding, rounding. In through the nose if you can. There are lots of benefits to breathing in through the nose I'll probably mention later. Last one, nice deep breath in. And exhale, rounding the spine. All right, next up, we'll do a couple, we'll do two moves that we pair together in this pattern of breathing. So it's low mountain with the palms forward. My chair's a little bit in the way there. Low mountain, meaning the base of the mountain, right, is wider than the peak of the mountain. So hands are not directly at our sides, but out at our sides. Palms are forward. And when we roll the shoulder blades back, when we roll the thumbs out, the shoulder blades kind of naturally pull back anyway. Does that make sense? So we open up the palms forward, the thumbs turn out, and the shoulder blades kind of pull back, opening up the chest. That's when we breathe in, and we kind of extend the spine this way as well. When we exhale, we'll come to our palms together. Now, sometimes Western yoga calls it prayer palms, but it's just left meets right. But palms come together, okay? So left brain meeting the right brain through the left palm meeting the right palm, or the other way around. Okay? So breathe in as we come into low mountain, pulling the shoulder blades back. Exhale, palms come together. Rounding the spine a little bit there. Okay? Let me show you from the side view. Breathing in, pulling the shoulder blades back. Finding some length in the spine. The crown of my head is coming as high as I'm capable, comfortably capable. Exhale, palms come toward each other. Breathing in. Exhale, create a little bit of force as you exhale. You can bring the lips closer together. It's not exactly pursed lip breathing, but there's some pressure as you blow out, like you're blowing up a balloon or you're blowing out candles 3 feet away from you when you create that pressure by pulling the lips a little bit closer together. I wouldn't call it pursed lip breathing because we're not trying to breathe through a small straw-sized hole to extend the length of our breath. We're not trying to exhale longer, just a little more forcefully to strengthen those muscles that exhale. So breathe in as we pull the shoulder blades back, and then create some force. You might hear it. Okay, and I'm not worried about perfection as far as the elbows being perfectly out and the wrist being at 90 degrees. Don't worry too much about that. This is about the spine, okay? I'm going to get into my chair to show those folks how to do the same thing. And I think this one's actually kind of nice in the chair because my knees aren't bothering me, right? This is a nice posture for me. So coming up, shoulder blades back, extending the spine. Notice I'm pushing my ribs forward to my happy capacity, right? If it's painful and pinching, I want to back off out of it. I'm not seeking pain, but you might find a little bit and you want to back off. Coming up, breathing in. Exhale, blowing forward. Breathing in. Very intentional with our exhale. Possibly even squeezing the core as you exhale. We've got a few more here. Last one. All right. Settle your breath pattern, kind of re-regulate and just maybe do a big yawn if you need to, stretch, move. Our next movement pattern here will be a breathing and twisting movement pattern. So I'm going to bring my feet close together and my knees close together if you're seated in a chair. Right hand will go to the outside of the left leg or the other way around. Left hand to the right leg. Doesn't matter, but we're twisting. Okay, so one side across and I reach up with my left arm here. I'm getting a little bit of a stretch in my pec muscle, my chest muscle. That's not the goal though, right? It can happen, that's fine. Maybe it's even a good thing. But the goal here for me is rotation in the spine, getting the scapula to pull back and kind of open up the chest, that diagonal side direction. Exhale and unwind. And then we go to the other side. Up and out. Exhale and unwind. Now, if you have any shoulder pinching, change what you're doing. You can do this without reaching with the arm. You can just come up and back with the shoulder blade. I think when we're learning this move, though, it's easier to comprehend when we bring the arm up because then there's less room for confusion with what I'm doing with my back here, what I'm doing with my shoulder blade. So I prefer reaching, but you don't have to. Also, if reaching high is a problem for you, reach lower, right? Just come down, that's fine. Exhale and unwind. Up and out. Exhale and unwind. You can keep going there if you're in a chair. If you're on the floor, tons of sitting postures with your legs, right? The legs are not important here. In fact, we're just trying to make them the least of a nuisance as we can. So you might sit with your knees up like this. I kind of like this one. Okay? Or you might sit with your knees out like this and just hold on to kind of the ankle or the shin. You might sit cross-legged, okay? It's all fairly similar here. The goal is spinal rotation and opening up the lungs to the left and the right with some scapular mobility as well, okay? You can have your legs forward if you prefer. That might be a lot on the hamstrings. Maybe you like to multitask, I don't know. I'm isolating my goals today. So here we go. I'm gonna bring my feet together. That's been comfortable for me today. Scoot that away and breathe in as we reach up and back. Exhale, unwind. Tuck the chin back so that you're not like moving the neck around in any funny sort of ways. You want to keep the spine in a fairly straight line, even though it's twisting. Exhale and unwind. Up and back. Exhale and unwind. Up and back. Exhale and unwind. Great to have you guys today. Hope you guys are doing well, feeling well, being good to yourselves, resting well. Breathing in. Now you're welcome to soften the eyes and kind of zone in or zone out of what I'm doing and zone into what you're doing, right? You don't have to worry about my rhythm or pace. You can always keep the eyes open and track me as well, that's fine. All right, I'm going to do one more on each side. Here's one. Last one. All right. So we've been doing a lot of movement, simple one-step movement, but movement paired with breathing. Our next series is going to be mostly about the rhythm of our breath. Okay, so for example, breathing in for 5 seconds and out for 5 seconds. In for 3 seconds and out for 3 seconds. In for 1 and out for 1. Okay, they're going to create different things in the body and in the mind. So as we start to breathe faster, it can be more stimulating and alerting. So if you're trying to go to sleep, maybe skip the, right, if you're doing this to find rest and calm, maybe skip the vigorous, intense in and out, and just do the 3 and 5 second versions. But we'll get there in just a second. First off, let's get into a posture. Now, if you want to work on more spinal flexion and extension like I'm going to do, then I'd recommend this. Hands down behind you if you're on the floor, and push the sternum forward and up toward the sky. Nose tilts up just a little bit, right? You don't need to hang your head back as far as it'll go, but from a nose straight forward position, just tuck the chin and then look up just a smidge, just a little bit, so that the nose and airway, right, through your throat opens up a little bit. Okay, so we tilt head tilt back just a little bit to open up the airway. Now, when I breathe in, I'm pressing the chest up and the sternum up. When I exhale, I'm just kind of coming back to a neutral. Whereas earlier we were doing, right, flexion and extension, kind of full range of motion. This one's primary focus, if you're doing the same move as me, is extension of the spine, and then just kind of back to neutral. Extension, back to neutral. Then, in a couple minutes, when we get there, we'll round the spine, and then the focus will be flexion, sort of neutral. flexion, sort of neutral. So it's not full range of motion in both directions. It's one direction, neutral, one direction, neutral. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're in a chair, really quick, if you're gonna do the same move as me, what I recommend is sitting at the edge of your seat and either holding the back of the chair, kind of tip forward, and that'll do the same thing as the folks who are on the floor with the sternum pushing forward, okay? Nose up just a little bit. When you breathe in, you can kind of push those ribs forward. When you exhale, just kind of soften at the back and unwind a little bit. Okay, you don't need to round the spine necessarily, but just push the sternum forward and then deflate. Okay? You can also hold on to the seat of the chair. Okay? You can even just have your hands on your knees and push the ribs forward like that, and then just come back to neutral. So there's lots of options if you're in a chair. Forward, neutral, forward, neutral, forward, neutral, forward, neutral. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If you're on the floor, what was I showing? Hands down behind you is an option. You could do this with your hands on your ankles and pull like that. I might do several different demonstrations as we do our breathing pattern here. Okay, so when you're ready, join in. I'm going to do a nice deep breath just to re-regulate. My best job of counting that I can do. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go in for 5 seconds, or 5 counts, I'll call it, because they might not exactly be seconds, and then out for 5 counts. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, sternum forward, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Adjust whenever you need to. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 more. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. Nose up a little bit. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going down to 3 seconds. I'm going to get to the chair just for switching up my demonstration. So 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out, holding on to the back of the chair or the seat of the chair or the knees. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. 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 One more. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. All right. So we go in pretty vigorously on this next one and out pretty vigorously. We're really producing a lot of energy. However, if you're getting lightheaded, dizzy, not feeling well, right, headachy, all that kind of stuff, cut out of it a little bit, kind of re-regulate your breathing, and then moderate yourself on the next round so that you're not overdoing the challenge on your oxygen levels here. So we don't want to bother your system, right? Alerting your system is one thing, but we just don't want to irritate yourself. So for me, this is really challenging, especially when you've got a stuffed nose or just allergies, or if the structures just aren't letting you breathe in through the nose very well. We do encourage that you breathe in through your nose as much as possible. It produces nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator and a bronchodilator, so better blood flow and oxygen and nutrients throughout the entire body, right? So that's good, and it makes nasal breathing better the more we practice. It's also a filtering system, and it cools and warms the air over time, not over time, but over the passage of, through the passageway through your nasal cavity. So there's lots of benefits to breathing in through the nose. That being said, this move is pretty quick. In, out, in, out. So if you can't get enough air in through your nose, it's okay if you breathe in a little bit through your mouth, right? So modify however you need to. All right, here we go. Same move with the body, so I'm still pushing the sternum forward. In, out, 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 in, 8, in, 7, in, 6, in, 5, in, 4, in, 3, in, 2, in, 1, in. That's it. All right, slow, steady, deep breaths in. You can just kind of breathe in at your own pace. I usually breathe in about 7 seconds, out 7 for this, for my resetting, re-regulating breath. Nice deep breaths at your own pace. We're going to do at least 3 of them to reset. Might take more though. All right, one more of these 5 count, 3 count, 1 count practices. We'll move through it quicker this time because I'll have less demonstration and explanation. This one, instead of extending the spine, is rounding the spine. Again, you don't want to do that all day, but during a controlled exercise is beneficial. So here we are. If you're on the ground, I recommend hugging the legs. This is my favorite way to do it. We're expanding the ribs in the back here. We're rounding the spine so that when we inhale, this move, we're not expanding the stomach, we're not expanding the chest, the upper back rises. Right? It's got to fill somewhere, so it fills in the back. You can also do this rounding the back, kind of pulling toward your feet, like a butterfly stretch, right? With the feet close together. Exhale and kind of deflate. And when we inhale, we pull the spine up toward the ceiling or back behind you. Okay? You can round by holding onto the ankles, hug the legs, hug the shins, cross the legs. Okay, so it's not about collapsing forward, it's about rounding the spine this way. Okay, so just rounding the shoulders forward, and that'll work as well. Okay. If you're in a chair, usually what I recommend here is forearms over the knees, and then pulling the spine up. That's my favorite, although you can put your hands on the ground if you want to round forward like that. I just don't like the pressure my head gets as my head goes further down. I build a lot of pressure. I don't want a headache, so no, I don't like that one as much for me. Some folks might not have that issue at all. So here we are, rounding. You could hold on underneath the legs and help with the rounding that way, kind of pull up on the back. Exhale and unwind, okay? So we'll go 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. I'm ready to get started. Join me whenever you're ready. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, pull the sternum, or pull the spine back, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my favorite on the floor. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 more. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. 3 seconds in, 3 seconds out. Here we go. In, 2, 3. Out. 2, 3. 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 2 more. In, 2, 3. Out. 2, 3. Last one. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3. All right. I'm just going to come up and roll the shoulders, turn the head a little bit. Sometimes you can get sore and achy from being in just one posture, kind of really stretching, right, or challenging ourselves with that sometimes. So come out of it and just work out the achiness before we go into the next one. This next one here is about a second in or so, second out or so, and it's a little more forceful, right? It's a burst in, blow out with a little bit of force. Okay, I'm going to get into that same posture. Here we are. Remember, if you're trying to relax, this probably isn't the move for relaxing. Although it might wear you out, so maybe that's a good thing. We'll do some more relaxing ones toward the end here in a few minutes. In, out, 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 in, 8, in, 7, in, 6, in, 5, in, 4, in, 3, in, 2, in, 1, in. That's it. All right, come out of that posture, sitting upright, shoulder blades pull back, and re-regulating, resetting breath in for maybe 7 seconds or so. Just a nice full deep breath at your own rhythm. I like to breathe in through my nose on this one and out through a small straw-sized hole, like I'm doing pursed lip breathing essentially for this one. Not a forceful exhale, but this is kind of just my resetting breath. Softening my eyes. And maybe one more deep breath. Doing great, everybody. Okay. This next series of breathing is about where we're breathing in our bodies, okay? As in stomach, ribs, collarbone, and that's the pattern we're going for here. We'll start with the stomach, and then we'll add it all together in a minute. But we'll start with the stomach. So I would say get into whatever is a comfortable spot for you to do that. For me, when my knees are up, I normally like sitting like this, but when my knees are up, my stomach can't expand very well because my legs are kind of in the way. The chair is actually a great place to be here because usually the stomach doesn't get bumping into stuff when you're in the chair. So the lucky folks who are in the chair, that's a good spot. If you're on the ground, I like to bring my knees out, or even sitting like this with the legs kind of apart might work, okay? With your hands down behind you. Now, you might get a lot of pressure in the wrists this way, but we can at least fill the stomach. So here's the goal here. Stretch the stomach out, creating a ball in the belly. Okay, so I'm gonna try this. I'll try it like this. I think I'll go with nice wide legs for myself on the ground. So as I breathe in, I'm gonna fill the belly. Exhale, deflate. And I'm not squeezing it tight to try to empty the belly necessarily, but I'm just filling. My intent here is expansion there. So, and then go back to whatever's natural, relaxed stomach for you. In and out. In and out. Now I want to put my hand over my stomach, so I'm not going to do that version anymore. My hands are supporting me on the ground. So I want to put my hands on my stomach, so I'm going to do it like this. In through the stomach and out. In, filling the stomach and out. The rhythm here is not critical. It's more about what we're feeling than how fast. And out. In a chair, like I said, the legs don't usually get in the way, so I didn't demonstrate that yet, but in the stomach and out. Last one here. And out. Okay. So we did one out of the three, we'll call them chambers or regions where we're breathing in now. We're going to go ahead to do all three next. I know it seems like you should do one, then you should do two, then you should do three. But we don't necessarily want to do the ribs without doing the collarbone. So we want to do all three here. So what this looks like is you fill the stomach, then the ribs kind of expand forward and out to the sides, and then the collarbone rises. So this is a three-part breath. So it's stomach, ribs, and collarbone. And then we let it out all at once or in reverse order. So stomach, ribs, collarbone, and then collarbone, ribs, stomach, which is very challenging for myself. It may be easy breezy for you, I don't know, but for me, it's very challenging to go back in that reverse order. I prefer exhaling all together, but it's good to challenge ourselves, right? So I'm going to start with the challenging one for myself and give myself a reward at the end here of starting with stomach, ribs, collarbone, and exhaling with collarbone, ribs, stomach. So I'm going to try my best here, so let's give it a shot. In, filling the stomach, ribs, collarbone. Exhale, collarbone depresses, ribs, and stomach. In through the stomach, ribs, collarbone, collarbone, ribs, stomach. Stomach fills, ribs fill, collarbone rises, collarbone falls, ribs deflate, stomach deflates. Two more. Here's stomach in, ribs in, collarbone up, collarbone down, ribs in, or sorry, out, stomach out. Last one, stomach in, ribs fill, collarbone up, collarbone down, ribs empty, stomach empties. All right. Very similar now. We just fill with the same pattern, but when we exhale, we can just kind of let it all out. It's not about 1, 2, 3 on the way down or 3, 2, 1 on the way out. Okay, this is just Fill the stomach, ribs, and collarbone. And then total collapse, okay, of all of it. You can do this on the floor or the chair still. Here we go. Stomach, ribs, collarbone. Let it all out. Stomach, ribs, collarbone. Let it all out. We're almost done here. Just a few more of these. Ribs, collarbone. Stomach, ribs, collarbone. Stomach, ribs, collarbone. 2 more. Ribs, collarbone. And last one, stomach, ribs, collarbone. All right, re-regulate, reset your breathing pattern. Weight shift on the sit bones if they're getting uncomfortable. And like I said, we are just about done here. So our final movement series here, it's not really a movement series, it's a breathing series, is going to be the calming breath. Okay, you could call it the relaxing breath or the calming breath or the settling breath or what have you, but the resting breath. Okay, and this has to do with a ratio. So it doesn't have to be 4 seconds in, 7-second hold, and 8 seconds out, but it might be, just for easy math, 8 seconds in, 14-second hold, and 16 seconds out. But the ratio stays the same. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 for in, then you hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do my best to count here. The 7 and 8 mix me up sometimes. I know it seems like I'd be able to count with all the things I know in the world. Counting seems to be my biggest struggle. But here we go. Let's do our best here. And if you prefer to count on your own, that's okay. You can always mute it. But let's give it a shot. Any posture is fine. In fact, usually we get into like the savasana, laying on your back, restful posture if you like. So you can get back to your starting posture, what you did at the beginning of this class, where you're kind of lounging there, right? This isn't about creating energy, this is about kind of integrating and settling all that we've done, and kind of resetting us to get back out there into the rest of our day or night or wherever we're at. Okay, so settle, whatever's comfortable for you. You might lay down, you might have your back against the wall. Anything's fine with me, okay? I'm going to have my back against the wall because I like that one. That's a good posture for me. So here we are. So the counting looks like this. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and pause just a second. So I'll do about 5 or 6 more, I think. I'm not going to count, but I'll do a handful more. And the idea here is you're inhaling a little bit faster, pausing, right? Letting that oxygen, carbon dioxide, all the gases in your lungs to kind of meld and figure themselves out and settle. And then you exhale slower than you're inhaling, right? So if you let it all out in 4 seconds, then you're going to be out of air. So we've got to exhale slower than we're inhaling. So be steady with that exhale. You might even do pursed lip breathing through a small straw-sized hole in your lips to really moderate how much air leaves, like this. a tiny little stream. Okay? So here we are. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And nice deep breath. Reset yourself. In through the nose if you can. And exhale, melt into your chair, melt into the wall, melt into the floor. Really grounding ourselves. So you might feel lighter, you might feel heavier. You might feel different, just kind of observe. Can you hear your heart rate? Can you feel your heart rate? Very shallow breathing, almost like silent breathing. As if there's dust or feathers in front of you and you want to breathe, but you don't want to move the dust or feathers. All right, everybody. Go ahead and start to wiggle and get up if you're ready. All right, everybody, one last thing. I think that this is the best place probably for me to store these videos, at least for now, while I'm going to be helping to take care of my mom while she recovers, but also for things like holidays when I'm not able to teach live classes. But anyway, so thank you guys so much, and if you want to see when I post more videos like this, you might hit the subscribe button, but otherwise I send these videos out to you guys if you're requesting them to your emails, so you don't like have to hit the subscribe button. Doesn't matter to me. But thank you guys so much. I just hope that this can be something that you guys can access when I'm not available to do live classes. Yeah, so until next time, I'll see some of you guys live, and some of you guys will see me on here. All right, bye-bye.